She was just another LA girl with dreams of stardom. And now she's about to take on the most challenging role of her life.
She knows she's a role model for many little girls out there, and she knows the immense pressure that is on her.
We'll talk to Meghan Markle's first boyfriend.
She walked up to me and just kind of laid one on me.
And track the future royal's meteoric rise to fame. From little-known actress
She's done everything from be a suitcase girl on Deal or No Deal
to TV gold.
Suddenly she was catapulted into earning $50,000 an episode.
To global humanitarian and champion of women's rights.
Women don't need to find a voice. They have a voice, they need to feel empowered to use it, and people need to be encouraged to listen.
And how, when she least expected it, she met and fell in love with a prince.
Yes, it was definitely a setup. It was a blind date.
She's older than Prince Harry. She's a divorcee. She's biracial. All of these things make her quite unique.
How will she use her new platform to transform the British royal family?
She's not just an English rose. She is an international woman with an international outlook, and together they're going to set the world on fire.
She's a stick of dynamite, and she's utterly fascinating.
Unlike most royal brides, Rachel Meghan Markle grows up in the leafy suburbs of LA.
Meghan Markle, born August 4th, 1981, which actually is the Queen Mother's birthday. She was born and raised in California to a Caucasian father and her African-American mother, Doria. And she had, by all accounts, an incredibly happy childhood.
Her father, he worked on a show called Married with Children, which was very popular in the US.
Doria is very much a self-made woman. She had a desire to be a social worker. She actually took a master's degree at the University of Southern California and emerged a mature student. So she's determined, she has a very strong moral compass, and I think that Meghan has inherited that.
She is very close to both her parents, in particular her mum, who she credits with instilling in her the passion and the intellect and the ambition that she has today.
At first glance, Meghan and Harry's childhoods couldn't be more different. But there are some key similarities. They are both brought up by mothers with strong feminist values, and they both suffer heartache.
Well, there's one thing, of course, that Harry and Meghan have in common above all else, and that is being brought up in broken homes.
When Meghan is just 2 years old, her parents separate, and she spends the next 16 years living between their two homes. Like Harry, Meghan receives a top-notch education.
Meghan went to two excellent schools. She went to Little Red House in Los Feliz, a very fashionable school. It has an emphasis on acting. Many children of actors go there. Johnny Depp's kids go there. When she was there, Scarlett Johansson was there for a short period of time.
She was known to be one of the nicest people in school. She stood up to bullies. She was kind to everyone. And while she was wildly popular, she was the kind of popular that came with intelligence and kindness.
While Harry's childhood is playing out on the world stage, Meghan is seeking her own platform.
If you're brought up in an entertainment town like Los Angeles, you tend to go into the entertainment field. Meghan, as a little girl, loved to be on stage. You know, Wheels on the Bus was one of her first parts, and When the Grinch Stole Christmas was another.
The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea.
At 13, Meghan signs up for a summer theater camp run by her local church. It's here that she meets her first love.
Remember your first kiss?
Joshua Silverstein, I was 13.
Where did it occur?
It was like a summer camp, and I kissed him.
You kissed him?
I think immediately I saw her and thought, oh, she's very pretty. You know, I liked her curly hair, I liked her freckles. She wasn't a girly girl. She had a toughness about her that was endearing and could stand up for herself. The picture that I have of the first kiss, she walked up to me and just kind of, you know, laid one on me. And I think I remember thinking, well, wait, I wasn't ready. But I also remember experiencing her applaud her own bravery. You know, that she had worked up the courage to make the move and do the deed.
Luckily for Harry, this summer romance is short-lived.
Meghan and I had gone to see Clueless with other people from the camp. I decided I wanted to go hang out with my friends versus stay and watch the whole film. And so I got up and left the theater. And I remember her being disappointed because she said, you know, you left me during the kissing scene. And I was like, well, I don't know what that means. And she said, you know, you're not supposed to leave your girlfriend in the movie theater during the kissing scene. That's when you hold her hand. By the end of the conversation, I think we had both agreed that the best thing to do was to maybe part ways, and we did.
Meghan attends Immaculate Heart, an all-girls Catholic high school where she is voted homecoming queen. And then, unlike her future husband, she goes on to college.
When she went to college, she chose Northwestern. Very notable school, very prestigious. A lot of actresses want to hit Hollywood while they're still very young and maybe not waste time on college. She knew she wanted to learn more. She wanted to make the world a better place, and Northwestern was a part of that.
After graduating, Meghan moves to Argentina.
What a lot of people don't know is that Meghan's first choice wasn't to be an actress, it was to be a diplomat. She went down to Buenos Aires as an intern at the embassy down there. It was, for her, one of the most exciting but also scariest times of her life. She was in a motorcade carrying the then Treasury Secretary, who was due to meet the President of Argentina. There were protests, there were riots, and the motorcade was surrounded by people with placards, smashing them against the windows, and she was terrified.
But Meghan will not go on to become a diplomat.
She actually took the Foreign Service test, and she failed it. If she'd passed, we might be talking about Ambassador Markle today.
At 21, Meghan returns to LA and sets her sights once again on Hollywood. But the road to stardom isn't easy, as this video taken early in her career shows.
The aftermath of the audition, and it went pretty well. We just had to dance crazily, and so I did, and it was tiring.
She's been to endless auditions, but for the most part, she was getting one line here, a couple of lines there. She was often too dark for the white girl role, too light for the black girl role.
We just all danced like wild women, and I was shaking my hair around and just all sorts of stuff. So hopefully I'll book that. It's $600 for 2 days, and if not, then I'll probably get extra work for it, which would just be it'd be just as good. I mean, I won't get any camera shots, but it'll still be fun, and that would probably be like $200. That's still good.
She even wrote an anonymous blog called Working Actress, where she talked about lying in bed with a glass of wine in her hand and sobbing for the weekend because she'd been yet again rejected.
She's done everything from be a suitcase girl on Deal or No Deal. She has starred in Lifetime movies. My favorite is When Sparks Fly.
Meghan's co-star on the British thriller Antisocial remembers her as anything but that.
I remember one night we were shooting outside a nightclub in probably -18, and she was out there with the extras chatting away with them, and that told me a lot about her character. She didn't see herself any higher than anyone else.
Off camera, Meghan is living a very different life to Harry, the notorious party prince.
When we weren't on camera or on set, she was back at the hotel working on lines with no makeup on and her jogging bottoms on.
And then in 2011, the hard work pays off when she lands the role of a lifetime.
She got cast in Suits. It was her breakout role as Rachel Zane, and suddenly she was catapulted into earning $50,000 an episode, and it had a profound effect on her, changed her life.
In the same year, 29-year-old Meghan marries her longtime boyfriend, movie producer Trevor Engelson. But the marriage breaks down after she relocates to Toronto to film Suits, and in 2013, the couple divorce.
Meghan and I actually bonded because when she and Trevor got a divorce, I was also going through a divorce, and it was really nice to have somebody to commiserate with. You know, I feel like she took her power back. It wasn't the marriage she needed to be in, and she moved on.
And then in 2016, during a promotional tour for Suits, the stars align and the unprecedented match is made.
It's a most romantic story, the story of how Harry and Meghan met. It was a blind date. It was in London in the summer of 2016. And Harry went along to a private members club, not really knowing anything about the girl who had been set up to meet him that night.
The couple are set up by a mutual friend.
The girl who's largely responsible for setting them up is someone called Violet von Westenholz.
She'd invited Meghan to come and watch the tennis with Ralph Lauren, who have a corporate box at Wimbledon.
The person that set Harry and Meghan up on a blind date could see that perhaps that was a match made in heaven, and I bet she's patting her own back to this day.
Meghan is instantly smitten. She posts a picture of a Kiss Me Heart candy on Instagram with the caption, "Love Hearts in London."
So she gave hints to her many followers that maybe she'd fallen for somebody.
The relationship moves fast, and unbelievably, they managed to keep it a secret for several months.
By their own admission, they'd only been on one date and suddenly they were planning a romantic holiday together. So things have moved quite quickly. I think there's something quite magical about the whole love at first sight nature of Harry and Meghan.
In September 2017, they surprised the public, appearing together for the first time at the Invictus Games in Toronto.
I don't think that I would call it a whirlwind in terms of our relationship. Obviously, there have been layers attached to how public it has become after we had a good 5-6 months almost with just privacy, which was amazing. But no, I think we were able to really have so much time just to connect, and we never went longer than 2 weeks without seeing each other, even though we were obviously doing a long-distance relationship. So it's we made it work.
And then on November 27th, 2017, just 18 months after that first date, the news the world has been waiting for.
Harry, when did you know she was the one?
When did I know she was the one? The very first time we met.
William and I are absolutely thrilled. It's such exciting news. It's a really happy time for any couple, and we wish them all the best.
Delighted for them both, and wishing them all the happiness in this very exciting time. And for me personally, I hope it means he stays out of my fridge. It's something scrounging off all my food he's done over the last few years.
Meghan is a breath of fresh air in so many ways. I don't believe we have seen anyone quite like her marry into the royal family. She's a stick of dynamite, and she's utterly fascinating.
Coming up, from starlet to royalty, what lies ahead for Meghan Markle as she leaves the red carpets of Hollywood behind for a life of royal duty?
I am excited to just really get to know more about the different communities here, smaller organizations. Just the beginning of a...
There's a lot to do.
Really?
There's a lot to do.
She is a fashion icon.
Meghan shows incredible sense of style. Just the way she sort of throws clothes together, it looks like it's just kind of happened, but clearly a lot of thought has gone into that.
Since bursting onto our screens, Meghan's casual yet elegant LA style has made glossy magazine news. Her beauty regime is a hot topic of conversation.
She is a woman who is very interested in design, very interested in fashion. She is a fashion trendsetter.
I love the way Meghan dresses. Some people call it a very California style. Her messy bun, obviously, her mismatched earrings, her ripped jeans. She takes a lot of style risks.
But a flawless complexion and trendy clothes don't quite cut it with the British monarchy. Entering royal life means that Meghan will undergo a full makeover from wardrobe to wave.
There is no royal rule book when it comes to fashion, but there are certainly guidelines that the royals like to follow. Royals, generally speaking, opt for bold colours so that they can be seen. In 1917, the Queen was touring New Zealand, and she said, very appropriately, "I have to be seen to be believed."
Etiquette specialist Micah Meyer knows what it will take for Meghan to adapt her urban chic style to fit royal protocol.
I don't think she'll want to wear something that would be seen as suggesting the wrong thing. I think she'll take her role seriously.
There's a long list of do's.
The Queen likes people to wear nude hose. Meghan hadn't been seen wearing a hose, but then when she turned up to the service of Thanksgiving at Westminster Abbey for the Commonwealth, she was wearing a hose that day. So I think Meghan is learning, much like the rest of the royal family, that everything is done out of respect to the Queen.
And even more don'ts.
We're not going to see short, dresses, short skirts, short shorts any longer. I think we'll see her with less open shoulders. I think we'll see her with less super tight garments. I think we'll see her with a little bit higher necklines. I don't think we're going to see much cleavage these days. I think we are definitely going to see Meghan's style evolve, and rather quickly.
She's following in Princess Diana's fashionable footsteps. They are big shoes to fill, but Meghan is proving that she's up to the task.
There is a little bit of a hint of Princess Diana there with, you know, the classic coats and the hats. I think she's kind of become a little bit more sleek and elegant, a little bit more kind of what we think is quintessentially British.
And what about getting style tips from another fashionable royal, future sister-in-law, Duchess Kate?
Rumor has it that the Duchess of Cambridge has given Meghan many style tips. Think of all the protocol, the state banquets, the going to church with the royal family. What does one wear to church with the royal family? We see her holding her handbag correctly. We see her dressing a little bit more formally. I see her wearing hats. We've never seen her wear hats before. We haven't seen her with red lips lately, and that's, we know, a signature of hers on the red carpet.
I suppose the biggest fashion faux pas, really, or things to avoid, are making sure that your skirts don't fly up. The Queen has weights sewn into the hems of all of her dresses, so maybe that's why Meghan's wearing trousers all the time at the moment.
One of my favorite outfits that Meghan wore was a black McQueen suit that she wore to an evening event.
She wears trousers well, but that's quite unusual for members of the royal family.
She looked incredibly chic, and it was very surprising. And I think it was kind of a way of her to say, listen, like, I'm gonna do this my way, and my way is very elegant.
Her style choices won't just be on display in the UK. Like other royals before them, Meghan and Harry will soon begin royal tours abroad. And for that, she'll need to be a different kind of fashion ready.
In the past, we've seen royals give nods to the countries they're in. For instance, we saw the Duchess of Cambridge with that beautiful Canadian maple leaf when she traveled to Canada. We saw her also when she went to India. She was wearing a local designer's dress that sold out instantly, globally. So I think we're going to see Meghan really embracing the culture she visits.
We've already seen her donning a tartan coat and a handbag made by Scottish designer Strathbury during a trip to Edinburgh. And in Wales, she wore jeans made by a Welsh manufacturer.
It showed to me how considered she is and the fact that she's going to be thinking through what she's going to be wearing very carefully.
From the Windsor wave to how to behave, there's an endless list of royal etiquette rules that Meghan is also having to master.
Meghan would be kind of going through what we've been jokingly call Princess Boot Camp, because she has had to work on everything from how to sit, how to stand, how to wave. She'll be practicing things like getting in and out of a car so she doesn't flash the hordes of paparazzi.
Well, Meghan's going to have to get used to the pecking order, the hierarchy. But she'll have to learn what her place is as far as the other members of the royal family go.
Meghan Markle comes from a land and a people where they bow and curtsy to no man. And she's found herself curtsying to the Queen, curtsying to Kate Middleton in private.
Figuring out just who to curtsy to is a job of its own. The protocol changes depending on who is present.
There are so many different layers to who curtsies to who and why and how, and the seniority within the members of the royal family.
She is the future wife of the Queen's grandson. He is below his brother, Prince William, who's the future king, and also below Prince Charles, and also as a result, Camilla Parker Bowles, who's the Duchess of Cornwall.
She's probably going to be given a chart, and she'll really need to memorize this.
In fact, I remember Charles Spencer, Diana's brother, he was at one of these functions. He said he ended up bowing so often, he ended up bowing to one of the footmen.
Meghan has a lot of work to do.
The etiquette surrounding royals, I think the Americans do find both fascinating and bizarre in equal measure. This whole notion of people standing on ceremony, bowing and curtsying, what cutlery you use at dinner, when you can arrive, when you can leave.
The fruit course would be interested, so you wouldn't just sort of grab an apple and peel it and eat it. You would have to use a knife and fork with it. And there's a whole different rules for mangoes and I think even bananas.
I think she's slightly daunted, or has been in the past, by this role that she's having to take on, but I think more than anything else, she's really excited. This is Meghan Markle Mark II. This is the reinvention of Meghan Markle.
Meghan is better prepared to deal with the Royal Goldfish Bowl because she has been an actress. She's used to the papped, but what she's had is going to quadruple, is going to be 10 times its huge amount of attention. A royal bride is never out of the spotlight.
She knows she's a role model for many, many little girls out there, and she knows the immense pressure that is on her.
Coming up, Meghan's past activism gives her a leg up in her new royal role.
One of the symmetries between Meghan and Harry is that they don't shy away from tough, gritty issues.
And she makes a very public stand on women's rights.
There is no better time than to really continue to shine a light on women feeling empowered and people really helping to support them, men included in that.
Meghan Markle is on a princess crash course. She's transforming herself from Hollywood actress to British royalty.
It seems, doesn't it, that Meghan Markle has always been with us. She's like a national treasure. I mean, you know, can we ever remember a time when there wasn't a Meghan Markle?
Some aspects of royal duty have come naturally.
One of the things that immediately bonded Harry and Meghan during those early dates was their love of charity work.
Charitable work really is the bedrock of royal life, and I think what makes Harry and Meghan such a great team is the fact that they share very common interests.
Meghan has been an activist since she was in elementary school.
When I was 11 years old, and I went to school here locally in LA, and the class was very small, and we were watching TV, and this commercial came on for a soap manufacturer. And in the tagline of the commercial, it said, "Women all over America are fighting greasy pots and pans." And two of the boys in my class said, "Yeah, that's where women belong, in the kitchen."
She wrote to Procter & Gamble, and she was also reaching out to very notable high-ranking women in the world, including the very famous attorney Gloria Allred and First Lady Hillary Clinton.
The response was that Procter & Gamble changed their advertising from women all over America to people all over America. And Meghan took that as a great sign that you can make a difference.
Meghan's work for gender equality has won her the title of Advocate for UN Women.
She's talked very openly about sexual harassment, about women's education.
When she was in Suits, she complained to the producers because there were way too many scenes where her character emerges from a shower wearing a towel. So as a result, she won her battle and they cut down on that.
She's a counselor for One Young World and a global ambassador for World Vision.
Meghan has been Rwanda a number of times for the Clean Water campaign. Harry has got his charity Sentebale, which is based in Lesotho, which is a tiny African nation most people had never heard of before Harry got involved. And so I think this shared interest in Africa really rocks their world.
Meghan's passion for charity work is certainly a feather in her royal cap, but she's also making huge sacrifices. She's leaving her family, her friends, and her home behind, and she's rebuilding her life in England.
Meghan has said that she's a true California girl, and everything that goes wrong in life can be solved by the beach, avocados, and yoga. So those are the three things that obviously she loves. The beaches just aren't the same as California, so I hope that she will feel that she doesn't need Venice or Malibu Beach anymore. She can have Brighton or Margate instead.
We know she loves dining out and exercising. Sushi Park is rumored to be her favorite LA restaurant. Platinum Pilates, her go-to studio.
I spoke to friends of hers who would take yoga classes and Pilates classes with her, and suddenly Meghan wasn't doing that anymore.
It won't be as it was before. That can never be the case. But hopefully this is something she's accepted and now has to learn to live with it.
Being a royal means a long list of no's. No more acting.
Meghan has had to give up her career. She's no longer going to act, even though that was her dream and even though she was very good at it.
No more Instagram.
It may not seem like a big deal, but in this day and age it is. She had to give up all of her social media.
No more blogging.
She had a blog, it was a lifestyle website called The Tig, where she would post travel articles, lifestyle features, makeup tips.
I believe it's named after the red wine Tignanello, which is very popular with Meghan apparently, that she likes a drop of that.
I'm so sad she shut it down. Meghan, if you're watching, please bring the Tig back. We loved it.
No more signing autographs.
Good night, guys. Good to see you again. Bye. We already have seen her go from just recently signing autographs to saying, I'm so sorry, I can't.
No more swearing.
For New Year's, over and over again, she makes the resolution to give up swearing, and I love swearing.
No more house in Toronto.
Her place in Toronto was a lot bigger, higher ceilings. It was a lot more modern than Nottingham Cottage.
No more privacy.
Every part of royal life is spotted and seen, and even when the actual press will stay away, people are there with camera phones taking pictures of you.
And perhaps most significantly, she's given up her personal safety.
The royal family, because of their very high-profile status, are always going to be the subject of some sort of attack.
Good evening. There's been an assassination attempt on Princess Anne and Captain Mark Phillips, but they escaped unhurt.
In 1974, a gunman attempted to kidnap Harry's aunt, Princess Anne, the Queen's only daughter. And 5 years later, Lord Mountbatten, Harry's great-uncle, was assassinated when his boat was blown up by the IRA.
Meghan had to go through special air service training. And what that means is they actually did a mock kidnapping of her, and they taught her how to negotiate with her kidnappers. They taught her how to survive. They used live ammo, so she would actually know what it sounded like when guns were being shot off. It was very intense training, and supposedly she did it with flying colors.
Meghan seems to be taking it all in stride. Something Harry's previous serious girlfriends, Chelsea Davy and Cressida Bonas, were ultimately unwilling to do. Her efforts haven't gone unnoticed.
The Queen has gone out of her way to welcome Meghan into the royal family. I was told the reason the Queen invited Meghan for Christmas was, in her opinion, Meghan had given up so much for Prince Harry that the least they could do was invite her for Christmas.
This may sound like a daunting prospect, but Harry let her in on a little royal secret.
They do not like big, serious presents. They like jokes.
One present that Harry gave to the Queen was he gave her a shower cap. Can you imagine the shower cap over her crown or over her, very well-coiffed hair? And the shower cap said, "Ain't life a bitch?"
1 year, Kate gave Prince Harry a grow your own girlfriend kit.
Meghan, during her first royal Christmas of gag gifts, gave the Queen a talking hamster toy.
Prince Harry has been an amazing mentor. He's given her a lot of guidance along the way, and I think made her entry into the royal family pretty seamless, because if you look at her, she has not put a foot wrong.
She's saying goodbye to her old life. She said goodbye to LA. She said goodbye to Toronto. She said goodbye to Meghan, the actress. She's saying, hello, Duchess Meghan. But the one thing that she is going to take with her, obviously, is that humanitarian and philanthropic work. She really wants to make a difference.
Coming up, she's smashing glass ceilings.
We finally have a black princess, which I know sounds like, why are we kind of reducing it all to race? But it kind of shows that the times are changing.
And standing her ground.
The ugly side of the engagement between Harry and Meghan has been the horrible running commentary of racism.
It's a shame that that is the climate. We have never put any focus on that. We've just focused on who we are as a couple.
There's a lot happening in the world, so we all need something fun and joyful, of course. So what's better than a royal wedding? But I'm particularly excited about this royal wedding because Meghan Markle.
Meghan Markle is a princess like no other. She is smashing glass ceilings and catapulting the British royal family into the 21st century.
Meghan doesn't fit what we might conventionally feel a royal bride ought to be. She's older than Prince Harry. She's a divorcee. She's got a colourful past. She's biracial. All of these things make her quite unique.
But the royal family has been quick to accept her into their fold.
Prince Harry set the tone totally. It was absolutely, she's the one, I don't care, I'm having her, and you better accept her.
There's a sense from the royal family that they're just delighted that Harry's found someone he can settle down with. You have to remember that the Queen, she had to witness 3 out of her 4 children divorcing. All she really wants, having been married for 70 years herself, is for her grandchildren to be happily married themselves.
Meghan isn't the first American actress to marry royalty. Both Grace Kelly and Rita Hayworth beat her to the punch when they married their own princes. But this is an unprecedented break in British royal tradition. Until recently, being an American, no less a commoner, was an absolute no-no, not to mention a divorcee.
We know what happened the last time, with Wallace Simpson when we had a divorced American coming into the picture.
Famously, Queen Elizabeth's uncle, King Edward VIII, was forced to abdicate the throne in order to marry twice divorced American Wallace Simpson. And the Queen even prevented her own sister, Princess Margaret, from marrying the love of her life, Group Captain Peter Townsend, because he was divorced.
Also, we can't ignore the fact that she's half black and half white. And I just loved that she is somebody who makes the royal family look a little bit more like the rest of us.
Even though on the surface you may say, oh, she's, light-skinned, or she is biracial, she's only half black, but just the fact that she's black is a big deal for this royal family.
Incredibly, it's now believed that in the 1700s, King George III's wife descended from black Portuguese royalty.
Queen Charlotte was technically the first member of the royal family with African blood, but in contemporary times, we have not seen a black princess or a black member of the royal family. Even just the existence of Meghan Markle, the fact that we now see her image as someone associated with the royal family, that's important, I think, for representation. Now I think, little girls everywhere can dream about being a princess if they want to, and I think it kind of shows that the times are changing.
Meghan and Harry purposefully chose to visit a community radio station in Brixton, an Afro-Caribbean neighborhood in London, for their second ever public engagement as a royal couple. Not surprisingly, the crowd went wild.
The Queen's also head of the Commonwealth. The 53 countries of the Commonwealth are mainly black African countries, and the British royal family has always looked a bit pale, male and stale, despite the fact we have a female constitutional head.
If you look at anybody who's ever had to say, God save the Queen, you'll see such a variety of cultures, of races, of backgrounds. So many of the people, one might argue the majority of people, don't look like the royal family. They're diverse, they're of all races, they're of all skin tones. And now, Meghan and the royal family look just a tiny bit more like the world that they supposedly rule over.
But while the global reaction to Meghan has been overwhelmingly positive, the naysayers have also been vocal.
The ugly side of the engagement between Harry and Meghan has been the horrible running commentary of racism.
One story, for example, suggested that Meghan was straight out of Compton, as if she were a gang member and not the daughter of an Emmy Award-winning lighting designer, not the daughter of a woman with a master's degree.
The backlash even came from within the royal family.
Princess Michael of Kent arrived at the Christmas Day dinner for the rest of the royal family wearing a blackamoor brooch. It's often associated with slavery, and it was deemed to be in very poor taste. She profusely apologized for it, but people were then reminded of the fact that her father was a member of the Nazi Party.
Growing up the daughter of an African-American mom and white dad, Meghan has always been very aware of her ethnicity.
She's talked a lot in the past about race and how she felt so confused growing up.
She tells a lovely story, actually, about her father bringing home 2 sets of Barbies. He brought home a white Ken doll, but an African-American Barbie, so that she could have a blended family.
But despite all of the sexism and the racism, Meghan has just handled it so well.
Of course, it's disheartening. It's a shame that that is the climate in this world, to focus that much on that, or that would be discriminatory in that sense. But I think, you know, at the end of the day, I'm really just proud of who I am and where I come from, and we have never put any focus on that.
She's proud of who she is, and how great is it that in this world where we're taught to be ashamed of ourselves, that she can be proud of who she is. She's not ashamed of being a woman. She's not ashamed of being half black and half white. She owns who she is, and she loves who she is, and Harry loves her too.
I think for underprivileged, disenfranchised people who look into the world and they don't see hope and they don't see possibility, for Meghan to be a representative of no matter who you are, you can obtain greatness is something very powerful.
But I don't want her to have to carry this tremendous burden as the sole face of another heritage. She's got so much to offer that we shouldn't just bring it back to race every time. She's got the smarts to help people from all cross sections of life. And so I think we need to open that world to her and allow her to do that moving forwards.
Coming up, with the wedding day fast approaching, all eyes are on the power couple's next move.
This is going to be a very exciting couple to watch.
Will the outspoken princess continue to take the world by storm, or will she be forced to toe the party line?
Gone are the days of princesses being seen and not heard.
As the royal wedding nears, Meghan mania reaches a high.
I've seen lots of people saying, oh, she's so lucky she landed Prince Harry, but actually no, Prince Harry's rather lucky to have landed Meghan Markle.
And while it's clear that Meghan is adapting her life to fit in with her new royal family, she's also changing them.
I think Meghan is going to absolutely modernise, absolutely revolutionise the monarchy.
So what does the future hold for Meghan and for this globally adored royal duo?
Obviously, we're all looking forward to the royal wedding, but I'm actually most intrigued to see what's going to happen once they are married. I think this is going to be a very exciting couple to watch.
It's obvious that charity work will be front and center for this power couple.
I've just been here for 3 months, right? And in that amount of time, but with that said, for me, it's very important to, even if you're doing it quietly behind the scenes, is meeting with the right people, meeting with the right organizations behind the scenes quietly, learning as much as I can so that I can maximize the opportunity we have here to really make an impact.
To be fair to Meghan, she's hit the ground running since they got engaged in throwing herself into royal life. So typically you would expect it to be a much more softly approach. She would get married and then do a number of engagements as Harry's so-called +1. What we've witnessed is her being thrown in at the deep end, but seemingly welcoming the notion of trying to find out more about the UK and in turn the Commonwealth.
And she will no doubt continue to champion issues close to her heart, but now with Harry by her side.
When I look at Harry and Meghan, I can't help but feel so excited because he'll give her a stage where she can do more of the work she really cares about.
It's almost like Diana died at 36, and here comes a 36-year-old Meghan Markle who kind of picks up the baton. I'm convinced that Diana would have been very impressed by Meghan, and she would see Meghan and she'd be thinking, good on you, girl.
We know that Meghan is a feminist. In fact, she's revealed that Prince Harry is a feminist too. The last charity trip Meghan did was going to India to meet with young women and girls living in the slums in Mumbai who are ostracised from society when they menstruate.
Because if you don't help girls with their periods, then they can't go to school, they can't do a job.
And I think one of the symmetries between Meghan and Harry is that they don't shy away from tough, gritty issues.
The transition of this out of my career but into the role is that the causes that have been very important to me I can focus even more energy on, because very early out of the gate I think you realize once you have access or a voice that people are willing to listen to, with that comes a lot of responsibility, which I take seriously. And I don't see it as giving anything up, I just see it as a change.
It's a new challenge, it's a new
chapter.
And although the British royal family is famously politically neutral, Meghan shows no sign of staying quiet when it comes to women's rights.
You'll often hear people say, well, you're helping women find their voices. And I fundamentally disagree with that, because Women don't need to find a voice. They have a voice, they need to feel empowered to use it, and people need to be encouraged to listen.
Meghan, at the first Royal Foundation Forum, the four of them, Kate, William, Harry and Meghan, were on the stage and all the press was there. Meghan quite loudly and very proudly name-checked Time's Up, Me Too.
And I think right now in the climate that we're seeing with so many campaigns, I mean, with Me Too and Time's Up, there is no better time than to really continue to shine a light on women feeling empowered and people really helping to support them, men included in that.
And she's clearly got some strong views on the subjects. We want somebody punchy and feisty on the world stage.
Will we also see Meghan channel that feminism inside the palace walls?
She knows that she is marrying into a family that is largely modelled on tradition. And one of the things that she will have learned from spending her first Christmas at Sandringham is that at Christmas Eve, on 10 o'clock on the dot, the men retire to the drawing room to smoke cigars and to drink port, and the women are not welcome at that. She would probably find culturally quite unusual, a little bit different, but I think she would always be very respectful of those family traditions. She's clever enough and sensible enough to realise that you don't rock the boat, certainly not when it comes to royal family and their age-old traditions, particularly at Christmas.
Perhaps she'll let the macho Christmas booze fest slide, but she may have already started the demise of another decades-old royal tradition.
It's traditional during the period of Christmas on Boxing Day for Prince Philip to lead the royal family on an annual Boxing Day shoot.
Meghan shirked this ritual on her very first Christmas at Sandringham.
We understand that Prince Harry didn't join the shoot for the first time out of respect for his girlfriend, who is an animal rights activist and I think quite staunchly against hunting. And in fact, I've not heard of Prince Harry going shooting, one of his favourite pursuits, for some time.
She knows that she can make an impact and wants to make a difference. Gone are the days of princesses being seen and not heard, and that's quite exciting.
Meghan is revolutionising princess culture. It's not about sitting around waiting for your prince to come. It's about absolutely changing the world, fighting to make the world a better place. And while you're doing that, you happen to make a prince and you do it together.
You know, at the end of the day, she chooses me, and I choose her. And therefore, you know, whatever we have to tackle together or individually will always be us together as a team.
This way, again. And another way. That's it, boys.